The third meeting of the season for the Ultimate Cup series starts with the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup in Hockenheim, where we will have a 15-minute session initially to set the grids for races.
Et nous sommes de retour sur ce circuit d'Hockenheim. Bonjour à toutes et à tous si vous n'étiez pas avec nous tout à l'heure. Bienvenue donc ici en terre allemande pour vivre cette nouvelle manche de l'Ultimate Cup Series. Ça fait 40 jours que l'on attend de pouvoir revoir toutes ces voitures en piste et vous l'aurez compris, nous allons avoir la séance de qualification, la première des deux qui sont prévues pour l'Ultimate GT Sprint Cup qui va débuter donc d'ici moins de 1 minute désormais, d'ici même 40 secondes. L'ensemble des voitures présentes ici à Hockenheim, elles sont 22, vont prendre part à cette séance de qualification. Et nous allons pouvoir débuter justement ce week-end véritablement de l'Ultimate Cup Series après les différentes séances d'essai et même les track days qui ont précédé ces séances d'entraînement. Il y a eu des petites erreurs ici et là, pas forcément quand j'étais sprint, également en proto, mais aussi quand j'étais endurance. Les pilotes qui se servent de cette séance pour trouver le meilleur compromis, que ce soit au niveau du setup sur la voiture quand j'étais sprint et dans toutes les catégories, et également exploiter, trouver des repères de limite sur ce circuit d'Hockenheim. Vous le voyez ici, nous sommes avec ce plan dans la ligne droite de départ-arrivée. Toujours impressionnant de voir cette grande tribune au fond de cette image qui précède, ou plutôt qui suit ce stadium qui est juste derrière, qui fait partie du stadium, une partie assez sinueuse où pas mal d'erreurs justement ont eu lieu durant ces séances d'essai et de track day. Alors, je vous disais qu'il y en avait 22, il y en a 20. Il y a 20 voitures présentes ici à Hockenheim en GT Sprint et on va avoir l'occasion de toutes les voir en piste d'ici quelques instants. On entend déjà depuis la cabine de commentaires les moteurs qui sont en train de rugir dans la voie des stands, voilà, qui sont en train de se préparer à sortir incessamment sous peu. Et maintenant, nous avons la séance qui va débuter d'ici quelques secondes. Ça y est, voilà, drapeau vert. Et vous le voyez tout de suite, les voitures et les différents protagonistes qui sont en train de s'élancer en sortie de la voie des stands. Les commissaires qui font signe aux voitures qu'elles peuvent y aller pour s'élancer sur ces tours rapides. On profite bien sûr de saluer tous ces commissaires qui sont présents ici à Hockenheim. On les remercie du temps qu'ils consacrent parce que cet événement puisse se tenir en toute sécurité, puisque sans eux, rien de tout cela ne serait possible. Et vous le voyez, donc ces voitures qui passent directement dans la longue ligne droite de la piste. C'est la numéro 91.
24 hours of Le Mans for the support race, but driving a GT3 car this weekend, and he was fastest in the free practice session earlier this morning. As far as I can tell, this is his GT3 race debut, having been very well acquainted with Super Trofeo machinery, of course, but also no stranger to the Ultimate Cup paddock. He was the 2019 Monoplace champion as well. That was his first full year of racing, I believe, having dabbled a little bit in Formula Renault and Italian F4, and also drove the Vortex in the 24-hour series, which he'll come up against with Solon and Rouge driving the rather lively French manufactured machine. We see drivers taking it easy as they head out on track for the first time.
It's a beautiful track out there. I'm excited to see this weekend how Hernandez does. He had a strong weekend in Portimao, didn't he, last time out? I think he started on pole position for the third race, I believe. But we had some great racing a couple of weeks ago in Portimao, which was a great advert for what Ultimate Cup has to show us for the entire season as well. We've got 3 more rounds to go off the back of this, so still plenty of action to happen out there. Qualifying getting underway then.
Fredo Hernandez, also under the Bonduelle name this weekend. It was under the BDR competition banner back in Portimao, but it is a bit of a collaboration. The entry, both entries between the Bodybuilder and PPR competition. The Belgian team that were vice champions in the Super Trofeo Europe a couple of years ago.
I love this livery.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
We saw it last time out in Portimao, which was my first weekend, but you know, your second weekend with the Ultimate Cup, and I remember we were standing in the pit lane and it went past me and I was like, is that Roadrunner?
Yes.
It was, yeah, you were like, yep, that's one of the best liveries out there. It's very eye-catching, of course, and I think they had a bit of a tough weekend in Portimao, if I'm right. I might not be.
Yes, let's see how Pierre Roux did actually. 64 there. Having to look quite far down the order.
Yeah, I seem to remember he had a few issues.
Yes, it's not been fantastic in the Ferrari Racing GT4 Audi. 2 points to his name so far in the overall standings, but
10 points for the livery, though.
Yes, absolutely. It's a livery he's had since his first ever race in the Legends Cars Cup France Championship all the way back in 2008. So Wiley Coyote and the Roadrunner have served him well over the years. This is another new entry for the weekend. The Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin Vantage Evo GT4 car. Baudouin Detu, the Luxembourg-based Frenchman, at the wheel of the car. And now he is competing in the GT4 European Series this year, and was recently announced having moved from GPA Racing over to Racing Spirit of Le Mans ahead of the 24-hour, the Spa 24-hour centenary edition, the support race there. That is part of a long-term project to try and utilize the team's racing ladder and reach the Le Mans 24 hours in the LMGT3 category. So still very new to the team, having done pretty much his entire career with GPA racing since the start of last year in French GT4. So Baudouin getting just a little bit of extra mileage under his belt with the team. We see one of the other fantastic livery on the 415 2B Autosport Porsche Cup car, Jeremy Falligand. Of course, multiple champion in the in this series, class as well in 2021 and in 2022. Of course, having raced in the Ferrari 488 Challenge, the Vortex as well, and now finding a bit more of a home in Porsche Cup machinery. The first times over the board is Eric Mouet, who's just gone fastest in the number 12 Ginetta, which is the development car from the British mark. It's the G56 GTX. He was sharing that car with Gregory Drio back in Portimao. So we're just over halfway through the session now, but it is Mouet fastest at 1:45.57.8, which is the benchmark at the moment. About 3/4 of a second. Well, it was 3/4 of a second because Alfredo Hernandez just went second fastest, but now going fastest overall is Kevin Parser in the number 91 Racing Spirit of Le Mans Ferrari 488 Challenge, and again a new driver sharing the car with Frederic Lacour, who we've seen all throughout the season, but Kevin Parser is stepping up into competitive racing, having also raced a Porsche last year in the Ultimate Cup and a JS2R, if memory serves me correctly. So just under 8 minutes left on the clock. And still Kevin Parser fastest with a 1:44.669, but we've got a big hit into the barriers. That is Jeremy Falligand in the Sparbiz Porsche, and that looks to be down at turn 1, and we do have a red flag out with 7.5 minutes left on the clock, so the clock will stop. It has done on our timing screen. Oh, and looks like for the speed car Ginetta as well, Francois Denis. So wonder if that's related. And indeed it is, and I tell you what, it's not at turn 1, it is on the run down towards turn 6 by the looks of it. So the down towards the hairpin. So but yeah, those two cars are quite close to each other on the road as well, so I wonder what's happened there that's ended up with Falagand in the barriers, but also with Francois Denis seemingly with a problem as well.
We were just talking about them as well. Shame out there. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happened. Oh, there we go. Thank you, director. So he gets a bit heavy on the curb and spins on his own.
Oh, so it was turn 1.
Yeah, and heavy. That's a heavy hit into the barriers, actually. That's a big old wallop on the driver's side as well. And then, so it must have been a completely unrelated incident for the other car as well. Getting out, which is always amazing to see, and unaided as well. But as always, go and check the damage. Taking his wing mirror off, it looks there. Chuck it into the car. But that was a heavy hit. I was about to say they were starting to push out there actually, because we saw the 555 taking the curbs a bit more aggressively as they were going around trying to set their fastest time. And looks like he just overcooked it a little bit onto that curbs into turn 1. Yeah,
so the driver tracker betrayed us a little bit. So it is turn 1 where Jeremy Falagand's Porsche has ended up, but potentially the speed car Ginetta GT4 car has parked up on the run into turn number 6, but the recovery vehicle there on site will be able to give it a tow.
That was the one that I was saying had just been pushing out there, was starting to take the curbs a bit aggressively, and now unfortunately sitting in the grass. So
yeah, maybe maybe being a bit too aggressive on those curves. We do have quite a nice GT4 field with us this weekend. 4 cars, the Ginetta G50 of Francois Denis, the Herrera Racing Audi that we were looking at earlier, another Audi, this time from Speed Car, which is Philippe Thalamy, and the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Aston Martin that we were looking at earlier as well. So quite a nice mix of GT4 machinery there as well, but the most competitive field class, let's say, is the UCS 3 category, which is very much aimed at Ferrari Challenge machinery. So we have 2 cars from SR&R, one from Racing Spirit of Le Mans, one from CMR, but it does also include the Vortex, as we just take another look at Jeremy Falagand's hit into the barriers, hard hit on the right-hand side there, but yeah, just pushing a little too hard on that exit curb, which is very aggressive.
Of course, it's a left-handed drive on this side. I said it was the driver's side, but clearly didn't use my eyes. It's okay.
That's all right. We did have a very early start this morning to get here, didn't we? So I think all is forgiven on.
Either way, if you're getting a wallop like that into the tyre barrier, then you're going to feel it in the morning. I'm afraid you're going to have a bit of a sore back probably after that.
Yes, as we see Francois Denis getting just towed into the little escape road there on the back straight. So for what it's worth, Kevin Passer fastest at the moment in the number 91 Racing Spirit of Le Mans Ferrari 488 Challenge with a 144.699. He's 0.6 of a second clear of his class rival in the 333 SR&R car. As we can see the damage on the right rear of Jeremy Falagand's car, and of course the concern for him will be that we have race 1 for Ultimate GT Sprint Cup coming up at 5 minutes past 5, so in about 2.5 hours time.
He's going to be watching that dragging piece of car dragging by. He's going to want to go pick it up and fix it. That's you can't go wrong with a broom, can you? No. Can't go wrong with an old-fashioned broom.
That quick clean up at turn 1. We should be underway again, hopefully very soon. It'll be should be 7.5 minutes left on the clock there. But yeah, as I was saying, the 333 SR&R Lorenzo Montiero second fastest, ahead of Eric Mouet, in the number 12 CMR Ginetta GTX, which, as we were saying, is the development car from Ginetta. It's a step beyond the GT4 car that they have been testing in the 24-hour series. In fact, was the class winner at the Dubai 24 Hours earlier this year. And it's 2 UCS2 cars at line astern as well there, because the Lamborghini Super Trofeo of Alfredo Hernandez is 4th fastest, as we see again. So it was already quite a bit of curb on the apex as well of the Nord curve. But yeah, it's very much the exit where it goes round. And of course, it being a rear-engined car as well, then, well, once it goes, it's quite difficult to stop that rotation.
The car has been removed, but that tyre barrier might take a little bit longer to fix. They are all kind of fixed together, so you can kind of pick them back up almost like Lego and put them back together. But still, they've got to reach a certain standard to make sure it's safe again to go again. So it might take a little bit longer just to get that tyre barrier sorted.
Yep, we can see the tyres already being put back into place.
There you go, Tetris.
Yes.
I'll be great at that.
So the repair work's underway. Just running through the rest of the order, because we have another of the Ferrari challenges in 5th, which is Francesco Coassin, also from SR&R. Solon Amrouche in the Vortex. It's the 1.0 that she is driving in this race. We will have the latest edition out of the Vortex out in the GT Endurance race on Sunday. So still the same 6.2 litre V8 engine, but about 120 kilos heavier than its successor. Solon Amrouche's car. Then Olivier Morahan in the GT3 Chevrolet Corvette. Cesar van der Westen, top of the Porsche Cup runners, which is rather unusual. We're used to seeing them run a little bit closer to the overall podium standings. He's sharing the car with his brother Carl, who will be up for races 2 and 4. Patrick Michelier in the number 73, which I don't actually have on my entry list. Oh, yes, I do. It's the CMR car. There we go. I was looking at the wrong page there. And Jeremy Falligand, before putting it into the barriers, in what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th position there. He was. Jean-Pierre Ancelet, also in the Porsche Cup there in 417. That's 2B Autosport, just behind him. And then Baudouin Detu in the Aston Martin GT4 car. 2 UCS light cars. And we haven't actually talked about that because we not only do we have the midget of Jules Doncieux, but we also have the Ligier GS2R back in the series, and the Pegasus team with us as well. Christophe Weaver, the gentleman driver from Strasbourg, who began his racing career in Formula Renault back in 2008, but did the Ligier European Series with Pegasus back in 2022. And that team very closely linked with Ligier since 2008, having helped with the development of the JS49. It was also they had the first year with the car. They raced in the V2V, and it was also one of the first teams to get a JS2R in 2019 as well, when that car was launched. Of course, a team that's made a name for itself in the world of sports car and prototype racing, in the World Endurance Championship, various Le Mans series around the world. And we'll also see them in the GT Endurance race as well, with a Super Trofeo car as well, with Anthony Nara and the team manager Julian Schell at the wheel as well. But it's Christophe Weaver in the car as it stands. Yeah, 2 cars, well, actually, 1 car we won't see a time from is Francois Denis, because he's parked up at the side of the road. But 1 car we haven't seen a time from yet is Amory Bonduel in the Mercedes AMG GT3, which one would anticipate would be one of the fastest cars on the track.
Yes, you would think. I would assume. Well, why wouldn't they want to come out a little bit earlier? Why would they be holding on?
Well,
to
it was first car out there.
Yeah, but it hasn't set a competitive time at all.
Yeah, done 2 laps so far. Everyone else has done 3, 4, 5. Some cars. So maybe maybe did come into pit lane at some point.
Maybe, yeah. It seems strange. You'd think they would want at least 3 before they set a kind of fastest, but maybe an issue.
Potentially, or potentially just track limits
Yeah.
infringements. Quite easy to do here, especially turn 1.
Yeah.
That exit curb and runoff area is very, very inviting. And I mean, when I was here for a GT race earlier in the year, there were, a few hundred track limits infringements probably, and that was just on Friday.
If you give a driver, what is it? Give them a mile, they'll run. No, give them
Give
an inch,
them
they'll
an
run
inch,
a mile.
they'll take a mile. Yeah.
Yeah, that's drivers for sure, isn't it? But it's a great circuit. I mean, obviously it's changed a lot throughout the whole of history, losing all that forest section and things like that. But I quite like what they've done with turn 6 and making it into the hairpin, and it's a shame that we don't see more of it.
I will happily argue with anyone who says that this new configuration of Hockenheim, as we see why we're under red flag conditions once again, Jeremy Falligand hitting the barriers. But anyone who says that this new Hockenheim is nowhere near as good as old Hockenheim, I will happily argue the case on that one, because current Hockenheim is it's built for fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing.
It's excellent.
And you get so much great up and under racing here as well. Like the whole new section, all the way from turns 2 all the way down to returning to the stadium section.
Yeah.
You can have some fantastic battles through there, and something I'm very rarely bored watching a Hockenheim race.
There's plenty of
series.
Yeah, there's plenty of overtaking, which obviously that's a common. Trying to think of the right word.
It's a sought
grievance,
after
I
quality.
guess. Yes, exactly. From a track, and a track like this that almost lends it, as we're going to go back under qualifying very shortly with
green flags.
with the cars heading back out, I'm sure, onto track with 7 minutes left on the clock. It did count down, but it wouldn't count really. They get time back.
It's just over 7 minutes left on the clock now. So I think it was 7:29 when we went green once again. Of course, that's a slight knock-on effect for the rest of the schedule as well, because we're supposed to have Ultimate Formula Cup qualifying at 5 minutes past 3, so in about 25 minutes time. But we have got to squeeze in another 15-minute qualifying session for these guys yet as well. But everybody back out on track. I'm sure that Amory Bonduel will not be wasting too much time, because he's got 6.5 minutes to set a lap time. So just a reminder, he hasn't set a lap time yet in that Mercedes AMG.
He's out on track, so you'd expect some times to come in shortly. Some still, they've all filtered out at exactly the same time, which a track like this, you can get a little bit of traffic sometimes. So but with only 6 minutes left, they want to set their fastest time. It does. It always shakes it up a red flag a little bit for various different reasons during qualifying sessions, doesn't it?
Right. Yes. You could have been on a really good lap.
Yeah.
And had to abort it. And it's it's a question of whether you can find that flow again. As we look at the provisional pole sitter, Kevin Parser. Again, he's qualifying the car for races 1 and 3. It will be Frederic Lacour who takes over the car for races 2 and 4. You can run solo in this championship, or you can share the car, but it's not like say like an SRO racing, for example, where you come in, do a driver swap in the middle of the race. You split it between the 4 races and score points accordingly. So if you're in qualifying 1, you're doing races 1 and 3. If you're qualifying 2, you're doing races 2 and 4. And the two sessions as well, or the 2 races, sorry, it's set by not only your first best time, but your second best time. So second best times will set the grids for races 3 and 4. And that's actually extra impetus for Amaury Bonduelle to get a lap on the board, because he doesn't need one quick lap, he needs 2 quick laps to make sure he's got a good position for races 3 and 4.
Conditions have slightly changed outside. It's clouded over just ever so slightly. It was very, very warm earlier, and the clouds just come in a bit now, which will only fractionally change the track conditions, but
been a threat of rain kind of all week, really, and we are expecting it to be quite a wet weekend when we actually get into the weekend proper on Saturday and Sunday. So far, we've been quite lucky with the weather. It's not too bad out there. Just as a passer runs a little wide on the exit, the hairpin at turn number 6. But yes, Saturday's due to be quite wet. I don't know about you. When I checked the forecast, they told me Sunday was going to be dry, but everyone here is telling me that Sunday's going to be wet. And now we've got one car in the barrier. That looks like the 417, I think, from 2B Autosport.
Yeah, it is.
Down into turn number 12. So yellow flags waving down there.
Should be able to just push that back, actually. He's
you
lost it.
But somehow,
the tyre
somehow has gone.
He's gone too
lost
hot.
it well early into the corner.
He's gone too hot into 12, hasn't he? And then spun himself round. I would assume that's the tyre.
Well, yeah, that'll be his tyre marks for sure. That's I've never seen a car end up there. Well, here we're going to get the answers.
Oh.
What? That's got to be something broken. That has got to be some sort of mechanical issue on the car. I have never, ever seen anything quite like that before, unless those clouds have suddenly turned into torrential downpour and he's just aquaplaned off the circuit. But well, it's funny. I look out one side of the window on one side, it looks quite pleasant. If I look out the other window, it looks quite dreary. So, I would assume some sort of mechanical issue there on Jean-Pierre Ancelin's 2B Autosport Porsche Cup car for now. So it's 3 cars down now, but yellow flags still waving at turn number 12, which is not good news for Amaury Bonduelle, who has gone fastest though, 1:39.124. Now, yes, that would have been set under, potentially under yellow flag. So of course he can't improve his final sector now, but should still be significantly quicker than anyone else. And there is that gold Bonduelle Racing Mercedes AMG GT3. I'm saying, as far as I can tell, that is this is his GT3 debut, having been rapid in Super Trofeo machinery. And again, points for the livery, because that Bonduelle car looking absolutely fantastic. And great to see the Mercedes out in the Ultimate Cup as well. We've had the Ferrari 488, we've had the Chevrolet as well, as we have green flags now at turn number 12. So clear track all round with just over a minute left on the clock. So this will be Amaury's last shot, really, at a lap, as he heads down into number 6. I have a sneaking feeling, though, he's bailed out of this one. Yes,
yeah,
he very much has. So they're 42 seconds in the first sector. So those 2 lap times, he did improve his lap time last time around, but he didn't improve in the last sector. So in terms of speeding under yellows, he should be okay. He should get away with it. But yes, has put it on provisional pole, and should in theory have a good enough lap to put him in a good position for race number 3 as well. As we got our first track time deleted, and that is car number 12, Eric Mouet in the Ginetta GTX. As we head into the final few seconds of this qualifying 1 session, setting the grid for races 1 and 3. We'll have another 15-minute session coming up afterwards. We hear the rumble of the 6.2 litre V8 which we should sample while we can, really, as Bonduelle heads into pit lane. Of course, Mercedes planning on swapping that out for a smaller twin-turbo V8 with the next generation GT3 car it produces. See the Chevrolet Corvette going over the line as well. Third fastest for Olivier Morahan. 0.4 of a second behind Kevin Parson, the Ferrari 488 GT3 Challenge. So the Racing Spirit of Le Mans car still sitting on the front row of the grid. Yeah, there we see the 417 back in pit lane. So by the looks of it, did get back under its own steam. Just looking at the back of that car, looking at the angle of the wheels, see if anything was askew there, but nothing glaringly obvious. So yeah, curious one there for 2B Autosport. Hopefully we'll find out what happened there before race number 1.
I'd love to just see it again, just to work out the mechanics of exactly how we're going. It's going into a right-hander and then somehow turns left.
Yeah.
That's what I'm confused at. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a firm right-hander that you can kind of, you can see, you know, turn into turn 12, you can kind of see it's coming for quite a while, if you know what I mean, from turn 11 to 12. So
and it was mid-corner as well, so it's very...
I'm absolutely
very
baffled
curious,
by it.
very curious case. But it's Amaury Bonduelle, fastest in Q1 in the number 28 BDR competition Group Pro Prom Mercedes AMG GT3. 1:38.746 was the time for the Belgian-born Frenchman. Kevin Parson, fastest of the Ferraris. UCS2 pole position going to Alfredo Hernandez in the end in 4th position overall. So jumped Eric Mouet in all of that. And Porsche Cup pole going to Cesar van der Westen. GT4 pole position going to the Aston Martin, the Baudouin Detu. And then UCS lights going the way of the Ligier of Christophe Weber. As we have the changeover for Q2. So if you were sharing the car, you'll be swapping over the drivers now. So it will be Carl van der Westen, Caesar's brother, getting into the number 14 2B Autosport car. You can take a look at the results here. So it's Amaury Bonduelle on pole position for race number 1. Kevin Parson at 2nd fastest, then Olivier Morahan, Alfredo Hernandez in 4th, and Eric Mouet and Solon Amrouche in the Vortex. Then Francesco Croissant, Cesar van der Westen, fastest of the Porsche Cup runners, then Patrick Michelier, Baudouin Detu, Jeremy Falligand, despite the spin, Philippe Thalamy, Jean-Pierre Ancelin, Christophe Weber, Jules Doncieux, Pierre Aru, and then Francois Denis never got a time in the end. So while we have the changeover between Qs 1 and 2, we'll take a quick break.
Être un bon traiteur, c'est être intransigeant sur la qualité. On ne fait du bon qu'avec le meilleur. C'est être impitoyable sur les recettes. Quand c'est bon, il n'y a rien à ajouter, rien à enlever. C'est être irréprochable sur le goût. Il faut prendre du plaisir pour en donner. Voilà, pour être un bon traiteur, il faut être intraitable.
Parfaitement intraitable.
So we have the green flag for Q2. And yes, if you have your second driver in the car now, so it'll be Carl van der Westen taking over from Caesar in the number 14 2B Autosport Porsche. It'll be Frederic Lacour taking over from Kevin Parson in the number 91 Racing Spirit of Le Mans Ferrari for a challenge. It will be Harry Walker taking over from Lorenzo Montiero in the 333 SR&R Ferrari for a challenge. And everyone else will be the same, although we probably won't see Jeremy Falligand, and we probably won't see Francois Denis, and we probably won't see Jean-Pierre Ancelin as well. So incidentally, the 3 cars at the bottom of the entry list because they've got the highest car numbers. So not expecting to see them in this session after incidents in Q1. But Anne-Marie Bonduel wasting no time in getting back out onto the track. Of course, now we're setting the grids for races 2 and 4. So the best time in this session will set the grid for race 2. Second fastest time will set the grid for race 4.
Got loads of racing to come this weekend. Got 13 minutes left on the clock here, but these guys will be racing obviously this weekend. Their first race gets underway tomorrow morning. This afternoon we will have the Ultimate Formula Cup qualifying session, which comes up straight after this, and then we have race 1 as well for that. Actually, we have race 1 for the GT Sprint today as well, don't we? I forgot about that one, sorry. Yeah, that'll be coming up this afternoon, so make sure you stay with us if you're enjoying what you're watching on Ultimate Cup so far. And we're here all weekend as well. On Saturday, we've got plenty of action as well. 2 of the Ultimate Formula Cup races. We've got the GT Sprint. We've also got the European Endurance Prototype Cup qualifying, and then as well as the Endurance Cup qualifying as well. And then we've got a big old long race on Sunday, which is very exciting for the European Endurance Prototype Cup. I don't know why I can't get my teeth in today. As well as the Ultimate GT Endurance Cup happening, getting underway at 2, isn't it?
Yep, our 2 endurance series on Sunday. Very much looking forward, as usual, to the Prototype Cup. 24 cars on the entry list for that one. Lost a couple in Portimao, admittedly, after a bit of a shunt, but still a good grid. As we see the Vortex, Solon Amrouche, who has been with the Vortex team for a good couple of years now, taking part in both the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup and Endurance Cup. Spanish GT class winner as well, and racing in the 24-hour series as well. Her father Lionel also involved in the Vortex team, and also part of the Virage Academy as well, or certainly used to be. And so it was meeting Karen Gaillard that made her fall in love with racing. Karen, one of the Iron Dames now in Le Mans Cup, and also racing with us in the European Endurance Prototype Cup as well.
Yeah, we spoke to her in Portimao, didn't we? She just jumped out of the car. The favourite time for drivers to talk to me when they are absolutely exhausted and covered in sweat. And she was talking about her journey with Iron Dames. It's been incredible to see their rise over the last couple of years as well. Yes,
great shame that they had to withdraw from the centenary of the Spa 24 Hours, but easy to see why they made that decision, sadly. Obviously, the well-being of the drivers first and foremost. So Olivier Morahan straight into a push lap at 45 flat for the Chevrolet Corvette, which is one of 2 GT3 cars that we have out in the field. The JRM Racing Run machine is making its way down, unleashing the taps on the thunderous V8 under the hood. The 6.2 litre engine it is in that car, isn't it? Very similar to the Mercedes.
What I love about this track is it's in the middle of rural Germany. You know, it's about an hour from Frankfurt. And you come down here to this amazing track, and I think I've only been here once before, actually, when W Series came here. And then suddenly you have this beautiful circuit with this massive forest that you used to race into as well, in the middle of rural Germany. I mean, we see a couple of those tracks like that in Germany in general, but there's something really unique about this one, isn't there?
Nürburgring springs to mind.
Yes, I was literally about to say Nürburgring, but yes.
Yeah, no, it's a great part of Germany. Of course, very close to Mannheim as well, which is certainly one of my favourite spots that neighbours a racetrack, as we see different colours on the GTX CMR Ginetta for Eric Mouet. There is bit more grey, a bit more black. I think it was white and orange in Portimao last time out. So he's troubling the Super Trofeo car
is, isn't it?
there. And see the thing with the GTX there is, I wonder if that was just something underneath the car there going down the front straight, but plenty of curb at the Nord curve.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, no, I think it's on the downshift or something. Something popping out of the
Front
exhaust.
right.
It's spitting a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Well, he clobbered it a little bit, I would say, on that curb, and then it's almost it's not doing it now.
Well,
I promise you, it did it.
I think it's on the downshift. Let's watch him when he goes into the hairpin and see if we can spot it again. I don't know if that's indicative of an issue.
Yeah, I think.
Well, as he's now being rounded up by the SR&R
I think
Ferrari.
he took that curb a little bit too. Might have knocked something out, some sort of, I don't know, suspension maybe. But then if it was suspension, you'd see it.
It was doing
visually.
it before it went into turn 1, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, we see. Of course, reliability is one of the key aspects in the development of that G56, because it's raced in 12 and 24-hour races in the 24-hour series. So we will hope all is well for Eric Mouet there.
He might have just been on, winding up for a fast lap, then clobbered the curb and then backed off.
Yep, and maybe he didn't want to be too close to Alfredo Hernandez. In front of him, so we see Solan Amrouche getting right up on Pierre Arou's Herrera racing car, and then, just going to back out, create a big gap.
They can't help themselves, can they?
Back with the Pegasus Ligier GS2R. GS2R powered by the V6 engine from Ford, 350 brake horsepower. It is based on the JS2's engine, which won the 1975 Le Mans 24 Hours. Of course, the Ligier building that car to celebrate the Marque's 50th anniversary. And of course, Ligier also just pulled the wraps off their new LMP3 car at the 24 Hours of Le Mans as well, which I'm sure we'll get more into that, and the new car from Ades as well that was unveiled in the week as well when we get into the European Endurance Prototype Cup later in the weekend. It's a good qualifying topic for tomorrow, actually. Just take a look at the timing screen. Just less than 6 minutes left to go on the clock. Anne-Marie Bonduelle, unsurprisingly fastest, 1:39.211. But it's Lyle Schofield in this 353 car. Top driver in the championship who's here this weekend, third in the overall standings. Second fastest at the moment, and Carl van der Westen.
They had a good weekend last time, didn't they, in Portimao? Sorry, I cut you off there. The two brothers.
Yes, they certainly
they were on the
did.
podium, weren't they?
Yeah, they'll also be taking part in the Ultimate GT Endurance Cup as well. But that is run a little bit more in unison, isn't it, with the driver swaps in a single race rather than how we run in the Sprinter Cup. See Lars Schofield, the young Irishman. He's a recent convert from single-seater racing. And actually, what I like about Lyle is from Ireland, lives in France, born in Monaco.
Sorry, one more time. Born in Monaco.
No, yeah, born in Monaco.
Yep.
Lives in France.
Yep.
But is Irish.
Oh. Fair enough.
Yeah, joining us from the Formula X Italian series, where he's been competing for the last few years, and leading his class in the championship going into this weekend. Jean-Pierre Ancelin is back out on track. So whatever happened to that 2B Autosport car in Q1, seemingly resolved.
I was about to say the 417's back out, but I almost second-guessed myself, so I just watched it instead.
Right, Baudouin Detu, currently fastest of the UCS 4 runners, which is for GT4 machinery, with 1:57.64, just did a personal best last time around. And Yes, that is the driver taking part in the GT4 European Series this year. We were talking about his move from GPA to Racing Spirit of Le Mans. It's Roberto Faria, his teammate in the GT4 European Series, made that same move, and we saw him out in the Castellet earlier in the year as well, but not here this weekend. As we see the two breaking down into the hairpin at turn 6, where we've seen plenty of dramas over the years. And it's another one of the GT4 cars that is following him on track as well. Looks like it's the speed car Audi of Philippe Thalamy, number 300 machine, which I can't help but feel is slightly different to what it was on the initial entry list. Excuse me a second while I scroll through my notes to see where it originally was.
Got too many notes.
I'll tell you where
That's
it was.
the
It wasn't on here. That's where it was.
It belongs in Google.
Yeah, that's why I can't find it. Track deletion for Jean-Pierre Ancelin, cutting turn number 12. So that's the fast right-hander that leads you back into the stadium section.
That's where he did it last time in the first session.
That's where he went off.
Yeah.
Yes. So interesting one there. As we have a look at one of the midget cars. The Soul Midget, the Super T of Jules Doncieux from the drive-in team. No Marine Perdue with us this weekend. Of course, she's an immensely popular midget driver. Midget being absolutely fantastic amateur racing platform. And, they are eligible for the UCS Light category in this championship, which is a bit sort of, you know, approved on application basis, but it's where we see the midgets, the Ligier and the Alpine A110 Cup cars, which we'll also see in the Endurance Cup race on Sunday. 1 minute left on the clock as Alfredo Hernandez drives up towards the line. Didn't improve on his best time there by a couple of tenths of a second. He is currently 7th fastest is Hernandez. So he unleashed the taps on that 5.2 litre V10 engine down the Parabolica. And heads up towards the hairpin. Hernandez back with us after making his first appearance of the season in Portimao. Been racing in Super Trofeo Europe for the last couple of years. He was a race winner last time out as well. And, was it race number 1, wasn't it? Yes, it was, in the GTS race. And, Hernandez is going to come up on traffic here, right at the end of his last lap of the session. It's Jean-Pierre Ancelin getting out of the way at the Sachs curve. Has that impeded Hernandez, as he's looking to try and usurp Eric Mouet, who's gone 2nd fastest overall in the Ginetta GTX. So has pipped Lyle Schofield to the post to secure a spot on the front row of the grid, and Hernandez again didn't improve on that last lap despite doing a personal best middle sector. So it looks to be Amory Bonduelle who will be fastest once again. Double pole position for the Mercedes AMG GT3. See Carl van der Westen there. It is pole in the Porsche Cup. He's got the four of the classes represented in the top 4 overall, which is always great to see. And in fact, Eric Mouet, Lars Schofield and Carl van der Westen separated by less than a tenth of a second across the 3 classes. So super competitive. If you look behind Bonduelle there, pole sitter. As cars make their way back into pit lane. We will have that first race of the weekend a little bit later this afternoon, 5 minutes past 5. We are due to get underway, although I do think there will be a minor delay to proceedings because we should be 5 minutes into Ultimate Formula Cup qualifying right now. But of course, red flag in Q1 for Jeremy Falligan's Porsche did delay us a little bit. Carl van der Westen heads back into pit lane. So once again, good performance for himself and his brother. So we will be out for racing action at 5 minutes past 5. Anne-Marie Bonduelle starting on pole position for race 1 this afternoon.